Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today I'm going to be showing you Nailpollies' newest collection called Cafe Pollies. So if you don't know, Nailpollies is an indie brand based in San Diego and she makes these adorable collections inspired by foods and drinks, and all of her caps are completely hand sculpted. This little quad is obviously inspired by popular cafe foods and drinks, and I am so excited to show them to you, so I will save more of my thoughts for the end. For now, let's just get into the swatches. The first polish we have is Flake It Till You Make It, and this one has a little croissant cap, which is so freaking cute. I especially love that it's glossy, so it has that like freshly baked quality to it. And bear with me because I don't have the official descriptions for these, but I would describe this as a golden shimmer microflake kind of formula in a very warm tinted base color. As you kind of saw in the bottle, it looked like it had a sort of beigey color, but as you can see on the nail, the base color itself doesn't really show up. You just get a lot of that golden shimmer and those little micro flakies, but it does have this like slightly beige sort of color to it, especially once you build it up in 2 or 3 coats. And at first, just seeing this in the bottle, I thought I wasn't really gonna love it, but trying it on, I fell in love. I just love dainty shimmers like this. I mean, you probably know I'm also just a sucker for gold shimmer in general, but there's something about it being paired with this like warmer beige kind of base color that I think is just so flattering. I loved how this one looked on its own. The next polish we have is Don't Worry, Be Happy, and this one obviously has a little donut cap and it's a chocolate frosted one, and I just love the texture and the detailing of this, where the donut part is matte but then the sort of frosting is like a little glossy. I love that. For the polish itself, I would kind of describe it as a medium brown toned jelly polish that is packed with this holographic micro glitter. Even though it is inspired by a chocolate donut, I don't necessarily feel comfortable calling it a chocolate brown. I feel like this leans ever so slightly orangey, so because of that, it kind of wasn't my favorite. I wish it was a little bit more of a deeper brown. That's just a color preference thing though. I'm just more a fan of darker milk chocolate type of browns. This one did build up really nicely though on the 3rd coat. I much preferred how it looked there as opposed to 2 because I felt it was a little bit patchy. But other than that, the formula was really smooth to apply. It just again was a little bit uneven. That also might depend on your nail length and your application, but I still like the 3rd coat because I feel like it deepened the color a little bit and it just made a perfect contrast for all of that hollow sparkle. The next polish we have is The Best Is Yet to Crumb, and this one is inspired by avocado toast, so it has a little toast cap with not that much avocado on it. As far as the polish goes, I think I would describe this as a very dark and muted hunter green with a teal undertone, because it definitely looks green, but I can see in some lighting or even on camera it just picks up a lot more blue than it is. This one has a little bit more of a crelly formula, so it does look a little bit sheer on the 1st coat, but it does build up to opacity in just 2 coats. And as you can see here, or as you may have seen in the bottle shot, there is this little dusting of a golden kind of micro shimmer. It's definitely very sparse and subtle. I feel like from far away it just looks like a cream polish, but I really still love this base color. And rounding out the collection, we have Matcha Made in Heaven, and this one obviously has a little matcha latte mug as the cap. I am so obsessed with it. It is easily my favorite cap, or one of my favorite caps that Nailpollies has made. And this one is a very, very pale green cream. And as you can see, this one had a fantastic formula where it was just so smooth to apply and very full coverage on the 1st coat alone. Normally for very light colors like this, they can be a little streaky and patchy or chalky and difficult to work with because of how whitened the base is, but I found the formula on this was just so incredibly smooth and it was perfectly opaque for me in 2 coats. I do think the color is cute, but I also wish it was a little more saturated. And here is the collection worn as a skittle. I'm wearing 2 coats of each in direct sunlight here so you can see just how much nail length is going to show, especially for the first 2 shades. And I decided to put both of the greens on my thumb with a layer of Flake It Till You Make It so you can see how the shimmer and flakies kind of pop over that. I guess it does look nice, but it's not my preference to wear it as a topper. I would much prefer just wearing it on its own. It even looks glowy in indirect or low lighting as seen here, so yeah, overall these look really great. Now moving on to comparisons, we're starting with Flake It Till You Make It, and I wanted to quickly show this next to Suns Out, Buns Out because it's the only other shimmery beige that I have from Nailpollies, but as you can see, it's totally different. I think the closest that I have is ILNP's Horizon from their Golden Hour collection a couple of years ago. That one has a somewhat similar golden shimmer or microflake formula, but as you can see, the base is white, so it just has this much cooler undertone to it. But going back to the actual shimmer particle, I do think it is different enough from the Nailpollies because I think the Nailpollies has this really fine shimmer as well as these slightly larger microflakies, but ILNP only has this larger shimmer particle or microflaky. So basically I wouldn't call these dupes, but you don't need both. Then for Don't Worry, Be Happy, I wanted to show this next to I'm Soy Over It from the One Sushi collection. It looks like it has a more true chocolate kind of color, but it's much more of a blackened brown, so it's really dark and has a different shimmer as well. So I thought to try to recreate Don't Worry, I could use Cirque's Mahogany jelly because I feel like the color is pretty spot on. So I decided to do 2 coats of Mooncat's Moondust over 2 coats of Mahogany jelly. As you can see, I kind of got a bald spot right in the middle of my nail, but aside from that, I think the color is kind of spot on, so you could recreate this. Then for the best is yet to crumb, I wanted to quickly show this next to Rice and Shine from the Sushi collection because it's the only other kind of like dark medium green that I have from Nailpollies, but it's nowhere near a dupe. So I thought a color that would be closer would be Cirque's Rockaway because it's kind of one of those like blue toned greens where I think I would call it a celadon, but as you can see, that one's a bit lighter and more green leaning. The Nailpollies is looking a lot more blue toned on camera than it is in real life, but it's definitely darker than the Cirque. And lastly, for Matcha Made in Heaven, I wanted to quickly show this next to ILNP's Canvas, which is a true white cream, just so you kind of have a reference for how light this green is. I feel like it leans a little bit yellow too, so I also wanted to show this next to a light pastel yellow. This is ILNP Sunshine, which sadly isn't around anymore, but you can kind of see that that one's even more saturated, not as muted. So I thought something closer was Cracked Polish's Color Correction from her makeup collection earlier this spring. I feel like these have a very similar value where they're both like light pastels, not too bright or punchy, but Cracked is more minty. So again, not dupes. And lastly, I wanted to show this next to You're My Fav-urrito, which is the only other light green Nailpollies that I have, but as you can see, this one's a little bit more saturated. So that wraps up my swatches and comparisons for Nailpollies' new Cafe Pollies collection. As always, I can't wait to hear what you think of this release because obviously, I am a big fan of it. Dare I say, this is one of my top favorite Nailpollies collections, maybe tied with the sushi one, if not even a little bit ahead of it. I just love the theme for this collection and I love the colors too, especially for this time of year. I feel like greens and browns just give me Virgo energy where they're so earthy and comforting but still very beautiful. And I especially love with this lineup that every nail polish is a different finish. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you might not know that I'm a big fan of matcha. And naturally, Matcha Made in Heaven is my favorite cap, especially from this lineup. I do still wish the color was like a little bit more saturated or closer to like a matcha green, but I guess then it would be a little bit more similar to You're My Fav-urrito, and I'm sure Danielle just wanted to have the colors be as different as possible where she's not like duping herself. Because the formula is so good, it's hard to be mad at it, especially when the cap is so cute. So yeah, I love these. It's pretty pretty much a 180 from how I felt about last month's collection, but I'm interested to know what you think. If you are a fan of these and want to pick them up, as a reminder, I am an affiliate with Nailpollies, so if you want to shop them while supporting me and my channel, you can do so by shopping through the link in my description box. I do also have a discount code for you, so you can save $10 off of your order of 45 or more. As always, a big thank you to everybody who supports me through that. But even if you don't plan on picking any of these up, I hope you leave the video a like, and of course let me know any and all thoughts you have down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.